Welcome, 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 gorgeous souls, to another juicy, joyful episode of Live Your Best Laugh. In today's episode, we're going to start with a bit of a joy audit. I would love you to just check in with yourself. Like, how often do you think about your joy? And just see what comes up when I ask that question. Like, how often do you plan for joy? And again, just like see what comes through. No judgment, just see what lands. And how often do you talk about joy? I think here's the thing, right? We all know what joy feels like, the energy of joy, and things that bring us joy. But I think quite often we just don't give joy the space that it deserves. We don't have the conversations about joy that we could. We don't make enough room for joy to show up unannounced. So, what I really love to encourage people to do is to like start really feeling into what joy is to you. Start having conversations with people about joy, to start getting really intentional about what joy looks like for you. Because here's the thing with joy and happiness, like, happiness is, like, in my belief, an external thing. It's something that happens outside of us. We can do something over here and it can make us feel happy, right? Whereas joy is like it's an inside job, it is something that comes from deep within. It's a soul thing. So it's something that we have a lot more ownership of than maybe we give ourselves credit for. And I think like the most helpful thing we can do as adults is to decide that we're going to have a relationship with joy and decide that joy is something that you get to be the creator of instead of just waiting for it to happen, instead of just leaving it to chance and, like you not being the person that's in the driving seat with it. When you think about children, picture now like a little soul who's like 2, 3, 4, whatever years old, and that like they've absolutely got joy nailed. Joy is their baseline. Joy is their default energy, if you like. When I picture this little person, they're feeling the joy deep from within, from the most simplistic of things, whether it be like a bird flying by or a leaf on the ground that's like blowing away, or some like lush green grass to jump around on. It's pretty pure and simplistic stuff, but in that pure simplicity they get to like be in joy as their like default energy. So I invite you to just to take a moment now, and if it feels good and safe to do so, just let your eyelids gently float closed and just take a really beautiful, nourishing breath or two, and just visualize yourself in your joy. What does that look like? What does it feel like? What's happening around you? What are the colors, the sights, the smells? Like, what is going on for you when you're in your joy? See what pictures, what images like come into your vision. Maybe It's a very kind of feeling experience. Maybe it's an auditory experience. Maybe it's super visual. But see what comes through for you when you allow yourself to be in your joy. And then just come back to the space and like notice how your energy shifts. You see, essentially, like we know what brings us pleasure, what gives us our joy. We just don't often give it enough space. I was listening to a bite-sized podcast episode, even that was a complete like word switch of Rangan Chatterjee's. And if you are in my world and been listening to these for a while and on my socials, like I love Rangan Chatterjee. He like the essence of his podcast, like they're just pure and real and honest, and I just love them. And it was a bite-sized one as I was doing the food shop, and I love grabbing moments like this because it turns essentially a fairly, like necessary but can be dull experience into something quite rich and rewarding. And he was talking about one of his patients who had been experiencing like just like low mood, that low level, sometimes we might feel it's like teetering towards like, feeling a bit depressed, but it's like that low level mood, which we can all easily fall into. And essentially on paper, like his life was good, etc. But there was a missing piece, and he talked to him about his pleasures, his joys, what like put a smile on his face. And the guy was like, I love trains. And he met up with him like a few months later, and like he'd like got this train, what they called a train set. That's it. I was going to say a train kit, a train set. And he'd been playing with trains, and it had really shifted how he felt, because what he'd come to was like, what brings me pleasure, what brings me joy, and how can I be in the driving seat with that? Well, I get to set up a train set and play, and this is the thing, like play, joy, pleasure. This is how we get to really feel fully ourselves, by like allowing play, allowing pleasure, allowing joy. So my question to you is, when I asked you to like think of yourself in your joy, like what came through? What were the images? What were the pictures? And like when you think of those things, are you doing them enough? Do you make enough time for you to enjoy these? And sometimes, we can talk ourselves out of these simple, beautiful pleasures by having a narrative of, not enough time, or the time being the right time. Yes, sometimes these pleasures, joys, these like places where we get to play, there may be some money attached to it, and that can be a barrier. But there's so many things which really it just requires ourselves to show up. As I record this, like the sun is shining outside in the garden, and we finally got to a point where the grass is not waterlogged. We've got through the winter, and we're now in spring. And there is so much pleasure I could derive from just getting out there and being in the sunshine, feeling the grass on my feet, jumping around, rolling around, playing, laying down and looking at the blue sky. All of those things as I explain them, like my body's reacting with this gorgeous kind of joy hit. You know, if we want to like have this deep relationship with joy, like we have to be the ones who are striding towards it. and the more we stride towards joy, the more joy will join us unannounced. If, like anything, if we build the muscle around joy and play and pleasure, we will receive more joy and play and pleasure. And in so doing, like it helps us ride like all the times when life is feeling tricky. And because this is a thing, and I think this is why we can be almost a bit frightened of joy or resistant to embrace joy is, like when life feels too full and too much, and there's too much sadness or too much stress or too much negativity or too much anxiety, um, it just becomes all consuming, right? So then it can feel really tricky for us to let joy in. But, and it actually reminds me of a Donna Ashworth poem about sit through the cracks or something. It's about joy coming through the cracks, right? And I think if we like activate our joy radar, right? For when we're in the mess, when we're in the weeds, then we can experience the two, you know? And this is why, like us, like looking at children as our teachers, as I was talking about before, about like finding the joys in the tiniest of things, like picture kids right now. And always when I think about them, they're like jumping in puddles or like their voices are like big and loud and they're squealing with delight. And there's movement and there's such expression in what they do and who they are. And I think as adults, like we don't give ourselves permission. Like when did you last squeal with delight? When did you last laugh without stopping it too soon? When did you last just jump up and down in excitement just because? We censor ourselves far too much. And in so doing, like we don't give ourselves permission for pleasure, permission to play, permission for joy. And what we do is, and this is why having a relationship with joy is so important, is like, and the difference with joy and happiness, right? Like joy is so internal, so intrinsic. It's your heartbeat, it's your pulse, it's your cells like pulsating with your essence. Whereas happiness is, like this thing happening outside of ourselves that like we could miss. It's this occasion-based thing. It's this event, this activity, and we can receive the joy in all of these things. But joy is so much deeper and richer. It's about fullness, your full you-ness. And I really think, I know there's a lot of tough stuff going on in the world, and I don't think that's going to stop. Like there always has been, and there always will be. And it's particularly huge right now. And I don't think that should be the reason that we shy away from joy. In fact, if anything, I feel like it is a real call to like deepen your practice with it, to, put your stake in the sand, if you like, and say, I am here for a more joyful life. I am here for bringing more joy into my life. I am here for then being this joy radiator where when others are maybe finding it more challenging to access their joy state, then they can feed off what you are rippling out. You know, that like this is the work and this is why I do what I do. But I really honestly believe that the the lighter energy is really needed. And the more we can tap into the energies that really speak to us, whether it's joy, love, peace, connection, whatever the thing, community, and actually joy can like encompass all of these things actually. But whatever energy that speaks to you that you would love to see more of in the world, it's like, well, actually, it's a call to rise, it's a call for action, it's a call to be more and like let that ripple out for others to drink from it too. It's, yeah, for me, the stuff that's going on in the world makes me want to do it more, makes me want to choose joy more, be joy more, decide that joy is here for like us to claim, to choose, and to say that we are here for more of it. And this is how we get to do it, right? How we get to do it is by making that decision and then like doing the things that are going to help you like really notice that there is joy all around us, in the tiniest little pieces. Like, look out your window and you will find little pieces of evidence everywhere. Mother Nature is a huge deliverer of our joy state, you know? And I honestly believe, right, we can tell ourselves many narratives. I think a lot of people in my generation, I'm like, as I record this, I'm 53. A lot of our generation were taught, life is hard. You've got to work hard. Like there was a lot of hard in it. And whilst that may be true for some people, for sure, a lot of the time, or for some people, some of the time, it can definitely be a true narrative. What it's not a helpful narrative of is just deciding that that is the narrative. Because what if life stopped feeling hard? What if we decided that there's times in life where life can feel really hard, and that is absolutely true for most of us, if not all of us, right? But what if we decided that whilst life can feel like that, life can feel rich and joyful and full of love and meaning and purpose? Because, like, essentially, like, why are we here? Why are we here? We are here in this gift of a life, and I think we all know people that their gift of a life has gone too soon, right? And that's really freaking sad. So I honor that by choosing to live my life as optimally as I can. Does it mean that every day is rainbows and unicorns? Hell no. I'm a human, right? And we love and honor and respect our humanness. Does it mean that I try to get as much of the juice out of this life as possible? Fuck yes. Fuck yes. You know? Yeah. Because when I journey towards the end of my life, wherever that is, my 80, 90, 100-year-old self, whoever she is, right? My biggest desire is that she looks back and goes, bloody hell, like you tried all these things. You didn't let fear get in the way. You didn't let disappointment get in the way. You didn't let judgment get in the way. Like there's so many things that we don't allow ourselves because of the narrative we might sell ourselves. So to make the narrative one that feels a good fit, honestly, making joy your default energy, your baseline, like the this is my starting point, so many things get to ripple because of it, right? And that, darling one, is freaking beautiful. It's a freaking beautiful space to be in. And I caveat that with, it doesn't mean that every day is easy, but it means on the days that feel less than easy, you have joy as your baseline to just nudge you that little bit way forward in what you want to do and how you show up on this planet. Because bloody hell, the planet needs the right people doing the right things more than ever right now, you know? And that is why I speak to this being such a useful tool to like for you to honestly like shift the shackles and release the whatever has been getting in the way and just freaking be there to shine your light, like do that thing, whatever that thing is. Maybe it's like writing a book, maybe it's starting a podcast, maybe it's like some exercise, but or specific, something specific that you really have been desperate and dying to do, but just allowing yourself to live in this energy of possibility because that is what making joy your default does. Hmm. Big breath out. Before we wrap up, I am going to share with you some laughter breaths. Such a great way using laughter yoga to help you get joy as your baseline energy because it shifts shit fast. If you've got things that have been weighing you down energetically, emotionally, God, it's such a great release. So we're going to breathe in for our noses, and then when we breathe out, we're just going to let really deep, rich, hearty laughter release. Okay, so big breath in, and then exhaling. Oh, let's go again. Big breath in and big exhale. Oh, and one more big breath in and big juicy exhale. Oh, beautiful. Like, how do you feel? Notice. Always take time to notice. I think so often we do the thing and then we're like, boom, 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 next thing, next thing, next thing. Take time to notice. Like, how are you feeling? How are you really feeling? Like, notice what being intentional about your joy, about your energy, about your inner peace, like, notice what that does for you in your body. The more we can get in our bodies, like the easier our lives get to feel, particularly when we have to navigate the tough bits, the curveballs, the things that arrive that we weren't expecting, like notice how you feel and like do it again, you know, like realize that you are absolutely in charge of how you get to feel when you're intentional with your actions. So, darling ones, I would love to hear any thoughts, feelings, responses to this episode. Like, what's come up for you? What's come up for you in terms of what joy really is for you? What's come up for you in terms of how you get to incorporate it more so it becomes your baseline? Like, how do you get to make joy your default? If you'd love some tips and tricks, download my 5 quick and juicy joy hacks in the show notes. And if you know you are ready for something deeper and richer in your life, if you have something that has been niggling away at you for a while that you just haven't felt brave enough or ready enough or found the time to put towards it, I have a really juicy new thing coming called the Shift Collective. It's a year-long experience, and it is for people that are just ready to live before they die, ready to take action. They're ready to like go all in with the thing that maybe they've been talking about someone, or maybe it's been occupying space in their head and they just haven't taken the leap. It's a year-long experience. It's going to be really freaking expansive and joyful and nourishing and all the things that you would love to feel for something that you are just ready to take that leap with. Like feel into it. If this feels exciting, drop me a DM or DM me collective and we'll have a chat and see if it's a great fit for you. I can't wait to get going with it. It's something that's kind of come through to me in the last couple of weeks, and I think it's really, really needed. If you are someone who gives a shit about the world, I like this is going to be such a great space for you. All right, my darlings, it has been utter joy and pleasure to share this with you. If you've loved it, share it with a friend. Send me your feedback, your comments, anything that has come up for you that feels like you'd love to share it, then just let me know. Sending all the love, my darlings. Until the next one, take lots of care of yourselves.